everyone. Dr. Mike here, TCOM 408. In this video, I've got some very important instructions on the upcoming classroom presentations, plus a grading rubric for you to consider. And I'm going to give some extra information to those of you who will do a pre-recorded online presentation instead of an in-person classroom presentation. But your job in the next few weeks is to create a really strong, engaging, persuasive classroom presentation. So in this video, I want to give you some tips for that assignment and some of the grading criteria. Now, please check carefully the presentation schedule. We'll be doing these presentations from October 27th through November 19th. Most students will be doing this live in class, okay? But a handful of students will be pre-recording their presentations. Even if your presentation is virtual and pre-recorded, you need to have it posted and available by the correct deadline. So please check the presentation schedule. Now, each student will be making a 10 to 15 minute presentation, and this should be based on a real case study, a real case involving some real ethical dilemma. Okay, now your case study must be based on a real world ethical issue, and it has to be related somehow to the media and the tech worlds, film, television, the internet, social media, video games, data privacy. Something related to TCOM. The case study should be based also on your individual interests and goals. So search the web for a fairly recent topic. Get on the Google machine. By recent, I mean within the past 3 years. Okay? And I've given you some information and resources about finding topics. So the topic has to involve some specific controversy and some recent controversy within the last few years. It deals with some aspect of TV, advertising, news, film, social media, video games, etc. In the presentation, now you need to do some role playing. You have to imagine that you're in the role of the primary moral agent. You're the one who's making the moral decision and ethical judgment. So try and put yourself into the position of the key decision maker. Now, because of the COVID crisis, some students will be submitting a pre-recorded online virtual presentation. Now, if you do that, please include an image of yourself and your own voice. I want you to record a voiceover track like I'm doing right now for this video. Now, what are your options for that? Okay, this is for the folks who want to do this from a remote location. Well, you can learn how to add voiceover to your PowerPoint. It's not too difficult to record a slideshow. Or you could learn to add voiceover to a Prezi presentation. Or maybe you want to create a video. That's all right with me. The main thing is we need to be able to access it and to look at it. Okay, so how do you add voiceover to a PowerPoint? It's very easy. Record your slideshow with a voiceover. Just start talking. Okay? You'll find it under the tab for slideshow to record the slideshow. Then after you've done that, you want to export the file as a video. So just go to export and create video. This will render the presentation as an MPEG-4 video. Then you can upload that video to Canvas. All right? If you do that, you'll be in good shape. Now, how about the structure of the presentation? I strongly encourage you to use Louis Day's SAD model. And I've given you the steps in a previous video, but I will cover them again right now. We'll do a little recap. So here's the stages. First is to really define the situation. Second is to do an in-depth analysis. And third, to ultimately make a decision. Let's look at this a little more closely. The situation definition, step one. This is where you got to lay out the facts in the case, okay, and then identify the principles or values that are at stake. And it's really important here to come up with a clear, concise statement of the ethical issue or question. I would strongly advise you to frame it as a question. Is it ethical to, and then fill in the blank. I think this is the clearest way to really come up with the concise ethical matter at hand. All right, now the next step two, is the analysis. This is the thinking stage. There's where you want to weigh any competing principles or values and ask yourself which ones have the highest priority. Maybe you want to consider any external factors that relate to the matter. Of course, you want to look at your duties to all of the stakeholders, not just the shareholders, but all of the stakeholders. You want to be able to discuss any applicable ethical theories, the wisdom of the ages. Okay, and maybe identify alternatives. Sometimes in searching for a golden mean, we can come up with alternative solutions. All right. The final step, step three, is just simply to make a decision, render the moral agent's decision, and be able to defend that decision based upon some kind of moral theory. So the three steps: define the situation, analysis, and make a strong decision. Now, when you're doing this project and thinking about all the various stakeholders, I really want you to consider your obligations and duties, not only to yourself and your individual consciousness, but the objects of the moral judgments, the people it affects, including the potential audience. You also want to consider your employer and financial supporters, the shareholders. And you might consider your professional ethics. What might your colleagues and peers think? Also important to consider your obligations to society, the public interest, including any obligations and duties to the environment and to the planet. So please consider all of these various stakeholders. And please use some of the ethical theories that we talked about in class, whether it's the golden mean or some kind of deontological duty-based theory. Maybe you use the golden rule. Maybe you found a moral imperative that should apply universally. Maybe you're interested in egalitarianism or utilitarianism, the greatest good for the greatest number. Maybe you turn to social responsibility ethics or professional ethics that you might find in a code of ethics. Okay, so these are just a few of the examples, but we want you to dig in to some of the ethical theories. All right, and really make sure you've checked the professional ethics. Are there any applicable professional codes of ethics? If you're working on a case study in the world of news and advertising, there's probably some kind of code of ethics to guide you. All right, what about the grading rubric? How will these presentations be graded? Well, what we're looking for first is a rich, thick description, a definition of the situation, the basic facts of the case being presented in logical order. I'm looking for a very, very clear, succinct, concise statement of the ethical issue, a summary of the ethical question. Again, you might want to pose it as a question. Is it ethical to blah, 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 fill in the blank? I'm looking for the values and principles that you've elaborated, especially the competing principles and values that really mean that you're facing an ethical dilemma. I want to see if you can use some of the moral theory. Okay, I'd like to see a clear discussion of any applicable or relevant ethical theories. I'm looking for a clear ethical decision, clear, backed up by moral theory. And of course, we want good mechanics. clear, sharp, strong writing, excellent spelling and grammar, and strong visuals and audio. Those elements should be relevant and engaging. All right, I hope that helps as you prepare for these upcoming classroom presentations. This is a critical part of your grade. If you've got any questions, feel free to hit me up on my cell phone, okay? Hey, take care of yourselves and each other, and I hope to see you real soon. And good luck with these presentations. I'm looking forward to seeing them. Bye-bye.